All right, I have a different setup now. I've got an external webcam. I've got my computer right here. So I'm going to try to make this work. Before watching this video, you might want to print out the sheet and follow along. If you don't, that's okay too. But this file's in the files library in your team. The answer key to this file is going to self-populate while I make the video. So the answer key is in the class notebook in Teams. You should have watched another video prior to this, a quick like 3-minute one, walking you through your tasks for this week. If you haven't watched that video yet, go back and do it. All right, so today we're going to talk about circle vocabulary. Last week was about circle equations. Now we're going to take those circles off a graph and just look at them and look at the stuff inside of them, arcs, angles, segments, stuff like that. So to do that, though, we have to know what to call everything. So the circle vocabulary that you need to know here is first, what is a circle? Now, obviously, you guys think you know what a circle is, but technically, as a circle is the set of all points equidistant from a given point, and that given point is the center. And we use that point to name the circle. So the circle off to the right here is that this would be circle B, because the center is B. All right. Now, a radius. You should all know what a radius is, but make sure you know what a radius touches. So a radius is a segment connecting the center to a point on the circle. So in this picture here, one of our radii would be BC as a radius, or BG as a, or BA, or BD. Any one of those things could have been a radius, and you can name them in any order you want. So I could call it BA, I could call it CB, I can call it any number of things. A diameter, again, you should know what a diameter is, but be careful that you know about the specifics. A diameter connects 2 points on a circle, and it passes through the center. So if I come back up here and I want to draw in a diameter, AC would be a diameter, and DG would be a diameter. What's not a diameter would be FG, because FG doesn't pass through the center. So make sure your diameters pass through the center, such as AC or DG. A chord is any segment that touches 2 of the edges. It can pass through the center, but it doesn't have to. So diameters are also chords. As long as it touches 2 edges of the circle, you're good, you've got a chord. So a segment connecting 2 edge points on a circle, such as DE, AC, FG, and nope, I already did that, DG. Okay, got it? Good. So chord, that's a new word that you haven't had before. Make sure you know the difference between a chord and a diameter. A diameter is a chord, but not every chord is a diameter. Another new phrase, intercepted arc. An intercepted arc is a portion of the edge of a circle between 2 points. So like CG would be an intercepted arc. AE would be an intercepted arc. It's just a piece of the circle, okay? When we want to name an intercepted arc, we got to do it carefully. So like, let's say I wanted to do FG. I would write FG, but I would put an arc over the top to show that I meant an arc and not the segment FG, okay? A minor arc is one that's less than half the circle. A major arc is more than half the circle, and a semicircle is an arc that's equal to half of a circle. So if we look through here, and I copied the diagram down here, if we look through this, what you can do is if I wanted to find a minor arc, it's anything that's less than half a circle. So DE would be a minor arc. A major arc is more than half the circle, so that would be like CGD. Now, notice I said 3 letters. To indicate that you mean a major arc instead of a minor arc, you have to use 3 letters. So I would call that CGD. I could have also called it DAC, or I could have called it DFC. But as long as it starts with D and ends with C or vice versa, and you give a point in between, then I know it's a major arc. The reason you need the 3 points is because if I just said DC, with 2 points, you're assumed that you're going to go the shortest distance from D to C, which would be back here. So minor arcs get 2 letters, major arcs get 3 letters. Minor arcs are less than half a circle, major arcs more than half a circle. And then a semicircle is an arc that's equal to half a circle. We usually use 3 letters here also. And so if I come back and erase this nonsense, if I want to pick up half of a circle, that would be here. I would call that ADC. Oops. Okay. 2 more new phrases, inscribed angle and central angle. A central angle has something to do with the center. A central angle is an angle whose vertex is on the center of the circle. Okay? An angle whose vertex is on the center. So like angle DBC is this angle right here. Its vertex is on the center. Easy peasy. An inscribed angle is an angle whose vertex is on the edge of the circle. And for that, we would have angle BDE. This thing up here would be what's called an inscribed angle. We spend a lot of time with central and inscribed angles, so make sure you know what those are and which is which. Okay, so we got through all that vocab. What I'm going to do now is I am going to pause this video and I'm going to fill in the next part to make the video shorter. If you've printed this out, try and do this next part on your own. If you haven't printed it out, when I pause and come back, just make sure you look it over to make sure everything makes sense. All right, so I'm going to go and pause this right now. There it is. I'm going to pause it. Try it on your own, and then when you come back, pause it yourself, try it on your own. When you come back, it'll be filled in. Okay, so I filled everything in. And a couple things that I want to point out, I'm not going to spend a lot of time, but a couple things I wanted to point out are make sure you have arcs when alt arcs are called for, and segments when segments are called for, and an angle symbol when an angle is called for. We're going to do a lot now when it comes to naming things in circles. And if you put a segment line over something, I'm going to think you mean a segment and you meant an arc, and that's a big difference. So make sure that you're putting those appropriate symbols in there. And then down toward the bottom, I have what differentiates things. Those aren't the only answers. But again, the whole point of this vocabulary is to know when something is one thing or is another thing. So make sure you're looking out for that. All right, that's it for video number 1 on circles not on a coordinate plane. So I hope this was helpful to you. And yeah, I'm done with this one. Bye.